And welcome back to the NWA 1983 project. I'm your host, Lex G. And with me, as always, is Matt Riley. How you doing tonight, Matt?
Oh yeah. I'm all right.
A little Randy Savage for your asses right there, my friend.
There you go.
So, guys, this episode will be another cornucopia of great wrestling matches throughout the NWA, a NWA week in review as we prepare for our big show live from Los Angeles, from the palatial and wonderful LA Olympic Auditorium, a wrestling cathedral, and many people in my eyes as well. Lots of great matches went down there, and next time we'll be talking about the WWA and the Los Angeles territory at large. But for this episode, we're going to do something real special, and we'll get into that in a moment. I just want to do a couple of announcements here. First off, coming off our last show, which was the Superdome Extravaganza, we have new United States Tag Team Champions. It'll be the Giant Baba and Tenru defeated the Guerreros to win that championship belt. In addition, we had Harley Race retain over Mr. Wrestling 2. And in the main event, we had the Junkyard Dog defeating Ted DiBiase for the NWA North American Heavyweight Championship. So I'm eager to see what the fallout from that's going to be. It should be fantastic. And coming up shortly, in addition, I know I mentioned our Los Angeles show. We will be doing a show on All Japan Pro Wrestling as the NWA invades All Japan Pro Wrestling. That should be good as well. And then we'll have a show emanating from the Houston Summit in beautiful Houston, Texas, and we'll talk some Houston wrestling in a couple of weeks. That card is stacked. If you know how Paul Bosch books wrestling shows, you understand what I'm talking about. So it's going to be an amazing show. And then to round off this month, it will be our big closed circuit event live from the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. Another one of the great wrestling cathedrals that are out there that are no longer with us, unfortunately. And the main event for that show will be Nature Boy Ric Flair take on Larry Zbyszko for the National Heavyweight Championship. And there's a rumor, guys, that this young and upcomer from Calgary is going to make an appearance on Georgia Championship Wrestling. We'll see who that's going to be, so that should be fantastic. So, guys, for this episode, me and Matt, the other night as we were talking about the Hall of Famers, thought it would be a great idea to have a match Hall of Fame. So we posted it on our Facebook group page, which is the Iowa Network Facebook page. You can join us there as well to see all the happenings and the Imaginary Wrestling Association and the Retro Wrestling Games YouTube channel. So we were thinking about a match Hall of Fame, and we had our members give us a list of matches they felt were worthy of such of honor. So the first inductee of the Retro Wrestling Games Presents Match Hall of Fame is from WrestleMania 3. Real shocker here, folks. Randy Macho Man Savage versus Ricky Steamboat for the Intercontinental Championship belt. So, Matt, why don't you give me some of your memories of that match?
Well, like a lot of kids, it was one of the highlights of my youth and made me want to wrestle all the more. It was just, I think it was the right combination of backstory, build up, and delivery. Just all of it. It was so well done. One of my pet peeves in wrestling is when two guys who just hate each other get in the ring and wait for the music to stop and then wait for the referee and then, no, if you hate each other, get in that ring, attack, and they did that to a degree, but once they were on, and it was so well done.
Michael Hayes tells a story where he had a bunch of his friends over and they're watching WrestleMania 3. Again, he's in the NWA or AWA, whatever it was at the time. And the WWF at the time weren't known for great wrestling matches, bell to bell. And once he saw that match, he was like, holy shit, now they have everything. Because of the 93,000 or 76,000, if you want to be a jerk about it. And they had one of the greatest matches of all time. So the storyline for this starts way back in early 1986. So early 1986, Randy Savage had defeated Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Championship. By some dubious methods, and perhaps a crooked referee, Danny Davis, was involved. So later on in 86, right before WrestleMania, he is engaged in a feud with George the Animal Steele. Now, they did the whole Beauty and the Beast kind of deal. So George Steele is infatuated with Elizabeth. I think he gives her flowers and candy and that kind of stuff. Macho Man destroys the flowers and the candy and that kind of stuff and gets all pissed. which leads to a match at WrestleMania 2. Now, according to George Steele, he kind of felt kind of bad because that wasn't supposed to get over to such a degree where they have a WrestleMania match. I believe the original WrestleMania match was supposed to be Tito Santana versus Savage in Return. But the Animal got over so huge, feuding with Mach, that they put Macho Man and George Animal Steele together. So in that match, Macho Man does get the victory. He kind of scoops up the legs of George Animal Steele, puts his legs on the ropes, 1, 2, 3, and that's the match. So fast forward sometime, Macho Man is still feuding with George Animal Steele. He's having matches, he had a couple matches with Hogan during this time frame, even a couple matches with Bruno. I know he had some tags with, I think it was Harley Race, with Bruno and Tito, which, again, I would love to see that match. I got to find it somewhere. It's out there, folks. Basically status quo. At this time, a couple important things happened. Dick Ebersol, who is the executive producer for NBC Sports and the guy that was the executive producer for Saturday Night Main Event, literally fell in love with Macho Man Liz as an act. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I swear that Macho Man's been on more Saturday Night's main events than any other wrestler.
Oh, I believe that.
He was on. He seemingly almost on all of them, for whatever reason. And Dick Ebersol was famous, and he was always famous by trying to get the cameramen to look down Liz's dress all the time. So watch those Saturday main events again. You'll see some interesting stuff. So at this time, they're setting up a feud with Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. So at some point, Randy Savage attacks Ricky Steamboat, drapes his throat over the guardrail on the outside, comes off the top and nails him in the throat. Then finishes him off with a bell shot right to the throat that crushed his larynx, which I'm not sure you can do, but whatever. So Ricky is out. He's stretchered out. He's halfway dead. Okay. Then Ricky comes back at I guess a couple weeks, maybe 6 weeks later. So he attacks Macho and gets the best of Macho. And then the Animal, George Steele, steals Elizabeth. Kidnaps her, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. Which sets up the match, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat for the IC belt. So does that jog your memory at all, Matt? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's
I remember one part of it, not on film at least, now I can find it, was my friends and I still talk about this when anytime anyone was hurt and we're like getting better, we go back to the Ricky Steamboat at the doctor. Ricky, say E. He's trying to speak. It was awful, but it was like entertaining.
It's funny because they had a part, and if you watch the entire WrestleMania, of them going back to the doctor and Mean Gene interviewing the doctor, but that part is actually missing. It's not there. So you probably have the end of that vignette, not the middle, unfortunately. Now, for my personal edification, today I watched 4 different versions of WrestleMania 3 because I'm insane. So I watched the Coliseum home video release. I watched the WWE Network. I watched the anthology release, and I watched the WWF box set from the 90s of VHS. And they're all slightly different. And I had this thing about different versions of things because I'm a weirdo. You remember certain things as a kid, and like, wait, and you watch something, and it's like, wait, that's not right. So a lot of times when I'm watching the WWE Network, I'm like, hey, it didn't happen that way. Or that's the wrong music. Or these interviews were supposed to be there. Most notably, to me, is WrestleMania 7. The network and any other, I can't even find it, any other DVD releases. It's missing the intermission. They had Paul Guire and they had George Steinbrenner. And they're talking about if they need instant replay in wrestling.
Oh.
And Vince is there being Vince and that kind of stuff. And it's fantastic, but it's not anywhere. But that happened. I watched that happen. And I'm like, for a while, I'm like, that didn't happen. I must have dreamt it or something because I've been known to do that in the past because for some reason, for those of you who don't know, Rocky IV is my favorite movie of all time. And I swear there's scenes in there that you don't see anymore. Like they're missing.
Well, there's no easy way out. By the way, a quick aside, at my work, whoever does the Muzak is a Rocky IV fan.
Oh, yeah?
A Rocky fan because they'll play like in the same half hour, Living in America, and No Easy Way Out, Survivor. It's so funny. Eye of the Tiger. It's awesome. It's like it's coming.
It gets you pumped, right?
It sure does.
So, like I was saying, I have this things with different versions of things. Like, did you know there's two versions of Superman 2? There's the original and there's the Richard Donner cut.
Oh yes, yes.
Even as recent as X-Men, Days of Future Past. There's the regular one and there's the Rogue cut, which has different scenes in it. So I'm like obsessed with this. I think it's the Mandela effect, personally, because I remember things that are not there. So I have to prove it right or wrong at some point. I do a lot of memory forensics. So like if I see a picture or I have a memory, like, oh, I got this for Christmas, I got to figure out what year that was.
Oh, okay.
Because I've been saying. So we're going to be doing live commentary over this match. I'll be watching the network version. Matt, you'll be watching a version on YouTube. Now, the match is exactly the same. There's no differences from the match. The big difference from the releases that I've noticed is that the Coliseum home video release is missing the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat interviews, and it cuts the entrances. So you don't see any entrances or anything like that. It just starts right at the match. And then it has like a kind of a slide over it saying Macho Man Randy Savage versus Rick Steamboat for the IC belt with George Steele. Like the network version that I'm watching here has the Mary Hart interview way earlier, but it has the Macho and Steamboat interviews, and then they cut to the ring. And then the network version is different than the original broadcast because they changed Ricky Steamboat's music. Apparently, he was using music from the Alan Parsons project.
Yes.
They don't have a license to, so they have some kind of generic theme for Ricky Steamboat in there. So, guys, if you want to follow at home, I am at 145.25 in the pay-per-view. So 145.25.
All right, hold on. Let me get mine queued up because my computer just kerplunked. So, the wonders of technology.
God, the network's hard to scroll. Now, Randy Savage has the old Intercontinental Championship. Now, how can you tell the difference between the old Intercontinental and the new Intercontinental? The old Intercontinental Championship has a red WWF logo on it. The newer Intercontinental Championship, like I said, the one that Perfect had, the one that Warrior had no such logo on it.
Dun dun dun.
Elizabeth looking beautiful as always. She's wearing a pink dress. Let's see, Macho is kissing the belt. Possibly goodbye.
Right.
Now it's funny because if you notice, the crowd reaction is split for Macho. I mean, at this point, they're pretty much going to turn him babyface right after this.
Yeah. Now, wasn't it the case that afterwards Steamboat wanted time off for his kid or something like that?
He had won the belt, and then his kid was being born in the summertime, so he wanted to drop the belt. So originally they were going to drop the belt to Butch Reed. Unfortunately, Butch Reed no-showed the show.
Huh.
So instead he dropped it to the Honky Tonk Man.
Wow.
So next up we have the interview with Ricky Steamboat. This is probably his best promo of his career, by the way. You know, he's full Karate Man at this point as well.
Oh, Ricky Steamboat.
So look at the mass of people at the Pontiac Silverdome. It's freaking huge.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember that big thing like, oh, they fudged the numbers. I don't care. It was still a crazy huge show.
I believe the actual numbers was 76,000, not the 173 that they claimed, but
right,
still a fantastic number.
And I remember when the Silverdome closed, and they were gonna demolished it. I always thought, if I was a promoter, how could you not have a show, like even just to clean up something in garbage, whatever, have a show there,
yeah,
and be like, the next biggest, and people would just laugh, but it would be fun.
Final show at the Silverdome.
Oh, I love the little cart.
Now, do you see the Fedorettes yet?
Yes.
I love the Fedorettes. Missy Hyatt was supposed to be a Federette.
Really?
She had a short-lived, I think it's 2 episodes of Missy's Manor, which is like a Piper's Pit.
Yes.
But they wanted her to be a Federette because they figured out she couldn't talk.
Yeah, Missy Hyatt was nice to look at.
Yeah.
Oh, the old Macho Man, the robes.
Apparently, those robes were made by the same guy who used to make Jimi Hendrix stuff.
Whoa, all right.
Yeah.
The glasses. I think everyone I know had a pair of those glasses at one point or another. It's funny to grab from the side like Macho Man.
Yeah.
I don't think bossing Elizabeth around.
Now, was his gimmick like he's a wife beater? Was that the deal?
I think he was just a domineering male. I think it was always alluded to that he beat her.
Right.
There's Ricky. So. Ricky, I was a big Ricky Steamboat fan. When I used to be in training, I used to do the Ricky Steamboat, the martial arts chop side,
Nice.
off the ropes. And one time in class we were training, and I called the Steamboat slide. And the guy I was training with later became known as A-Train / Tensu or Tensai.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did the leg split, instead of like keeping his leg split, he like crouched down to like catch me. So when I slid, it didn't go well for his groin.
My nads.
Yes.
How come no one calls balls nads anymore?
I don't know. That's just one of those things.
I'm upset.
So here's Ricky and Steele.
Yeah.
George Steele. Oh man.
Now George Steele, for those of you who don't know, was a main eventer in the 70s, having these fantastic, at least for the time, matches with Bruno Sammartino as a legit animal, like he's a monster. And that was back when they just fed monsters to Bruno. So you had Gorilla Monsoon, who was like the Manchurian Giant, and he was a monster. And you had George Steele, that was a monster.
Now, do you know, I was told one time they did angle where he got hit in the head with a chair and became brilliant.
No, what happened was he went to electric shock therapy. And he go like, "Ow now, brown cow." So they shocked him and he started talking because Jim Myers, he's like a teacher, right? In like real life.
Yes.
So he wrestled part time, and he would just talk with his normal voice, and then they shock him again, and they'd be stupid again. TNT, that's a good show. I think it was the same doctor that put the cast on Bob Orton, or said his arm wasn't broken. They did a thing where like, "Are your arm still broken? It's been 2 years." So they went to the doctor and X-rayed it. Like, "No, your thing is fine." Like, "No, this doctor's a quack." Roddy Piper.
All right, so are you action-wise right before they lock up here?
Yeah, their belts up in the air.
Elizabeth's leaving?
Elizabeth's taking off the glasses.
Okay.
Now she's leaving.
All right, let me know when they first lock up.
Okay. Oh, Liz is gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're locking up. Right about. They're circling. Here's lockup.
All right. Now, one thing I will say as far as technically goes and speed, we used to work in the speed combo of like the hammerlock, reversal, step out, side step, spin. And what I liked about this is that Savage was always true to his stop the match, doing my own thing, get the fans aggravated. I watched a Savage Hogan match the other night from Philadelphia, and like he spent probably the first 7 minutes just stalling.
Yeah.
And it was great. The fans were just outraged.
Like how he pulled Elizabeth from the corner to the other side of the ring.
Yeah.
Oh. That Ricky Steamboat arm drag is phenomenal.
That deep arm drag. No one gets deeper than Ricky Steamboat.
You get him up in the choke.
Yeah. A little heelish there. It's Ricky, but Ricky full of fire and piss and vinegar, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, Savage put him out. Try to end his career. You kind of expect that.
You could only say, he. And Ricky chasing him out, then double axe handle, take control. What I always liked about Savage too is he was a good wrestler. Some heels just never had offense unless they cheated. Like he was opportunist.
Yeah. And I love that spot. From the chase around the ring and then double axe handle, because that's amazing. You don't see stuff like that anymore.
Right.
Oh look, Savage going for a pinfall.
Yep.
Like he's trying to win the match. And that's a running, like when I watched this, I noticed that's a running theme. These guys are trying to win the match. They're not trying to get their shit in. They're not trying to do a high-flying maneuver. They're trying to win the match.
Right. And I always liked about this is that the story's being told, but one of the biggest things is, and people forget this, technically they do a lot of big moves and good spots. They told a story leading into the match. They're telling the story through the match. Oh, the old finger lock and armbar elevation. I'll always love that combo.
So clearly Ricky's trying to work on the arm here, trying to probably negate the Macho Man elbow.
Right. You got to work on the elbow drop and really damage the ligament so he doesn't want to use that arm.
Unfortunately, that's the wrong arm, though.
Well, that's technical.
Well, maybe no, that's the right arm. That's the right arm. He elbows with, he drops the elbow with the left, not the right. But
in Japan, you work the the right side of the body. In America, you work the right side.
I thought it was Mexico.
Maybe it was Mexico, but I was told Japan. But who knows? Maybe it was
nice back elbow. No one throws a back elbow anymore.
I love the back elbow. Oh, that's so beautiful. And Ricky, taking it hard off the face, going down. And what does Savage do? He sells this. Ah, man, the arm's sore. Believability.
So you notice Savage just throws Ricky over the top to kind of give him some time for his arm to heal up.
Yes.
Smart maneuver.
And Ricky's dead. And George Steele's like, oh.
He's so hairy. It's so gross.
I have a friend who likes that in guys. I'm like, oh.
Really?
Yeah, she's interesting. So I told her I like that in my women.
Savage stalled again by kicking Steamboat off the apron.
I always laugh. My very first match in front of a live crowd, the guy I was working with had a mask on and he couldn't breathe, so I had to keep throwing him out of the ring to give him a breather. And it just was so anti-training. No, I'm the bad guy. I should be taking the breather. Oh, I love the elbow drop across the throat, targeting that weak throat.
Yeah.
Ricky always sold like he was shot. Ricky was always like, oh my God, Ricky's going to die.
Yeah, he's working on the injury. It's fantastic. It's good psychology.
Yeah. Give him some boots. Get him out of that ring. Stomp away. There you go.
Again, a nice shot of Liz down her dress. It's always wonderful.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Snapmare over the rope inside the outside. Or outside the inside.
Yes. Oh, the snapmare. You don't see that much anymore either.
Got another pinfall attempt. Followed up by a knee drop. Right across the throat.
I'll bet you if you just watched old tapes, you could probably have a wrestler wrestle these days with just old moves and no one would know.
Oh, he'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Randy's trying to win. Love it.
Then you have Ricky with the open strikes to the forehead.
Yes. Oh, the old Ricky chop.
Mm. So now I got Savage in the ropes. He's tied up.
That was always a good spot. Oh, he's stuck. His circulation to his arms. He could lose his arms, folks. That's why I always enjoyed Gorilla Monsoon's announcing. Because he would, Jim Ross, same idea. And that what's his name? Mario Relio, how do you say it?
Mauro Ronaldo.
Yeah, I like his announcing because he makes it over the top. So I enjoy that. Come on.
Yeah, another near fall, followed by an arm drag. Macho grabs the hair, followed by another near fall. Shoulder block. Yep. 1-2, near fall again. Oh, look at that knee right to the back. So that's an interesting spot. Instead of he threw Ricky, he sidestepped Ricky. Ricky went sternum him first into the ropes, and he bounced back, and they got nailed with the knee.
Yeah,
they got a nice skin the cat spot. Doesn't fool Macho. Macho closes him over the top rope.
And that's one of those spots Ricky did so well. Oh. And it's they're foes. He knows him. Bang.
Yeah, he knows it's coming.
George Steele, Harry.
Yeah.
He's going to fondle Ricky a little bit.
Another nice knee drop, and Ricky ends up into the front row over the guardrail.
Oh, I forgot about that spot.
See, this one thing with Savage. Savage immediately goes back into the ring. He's not brawling with them on the outside. He doesn't care. He doesn't want to beat him up. He wants to win.
Right. It's Steele. I'm sure, the heel announcer's like, oh, he's helping him.
Oh, Jesse was livid. It was Jesse. Jesse's calling him out. He's like, Monsoon, earlier you said managers shouldn't get involved. What do you think George Steele's doing? And Monsoon goes, he's not a manager, it's his friend. Now Ricky has Coca-Cola over his ass. Looks like he's showing himself. Oh, Savage on the top rope going to the outside. This is the high spot of the match.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Right to the top, to the floor. Double axe handle. Again, Savage goes back in the ring, too.
Yep.
Trying to win the match.
Right. Go for the count of victory. Still a victory. Retain the title.
Oh, Savage didn't care.
And that's an element I think missing some of the matches these days. You know, they have so much brawling going on all the time. They're like, fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it matter. Make it matter. Uh-oh. Savage at the top again, of course.
Yeah. And Savage got up there so effortlessly.
And one thing I will say I miss from the old days is you don't see anymore now, the flashing of cameras.
Yeah.
You know, like you'd see someone on the top rope, flash everywhere. I remember Lex Luger one time took his robe off or something. It was like pictures everywhere.
So I love the Savage hangman spot.
Yes.
That's a classic. No one does that anymore either. Atomic drop. Right to a pinfall. Near fall. You got Savage with a textbook suplex.
Always textbook.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go rogue.
No.
He did his homework.
Again, goes for another pinfall again.
George Steele, Harry.
Yep.
I found out years later he did some kind of like public exposure fetish. Like, oh god. Oh, Coca-Cola. All right, so
Gauntlet suplex by Savage. Steamer kicks out at 2.
nice. And you'll notice it's again, going for the win, trying to win, no messing around, just going for it.
No, because these guys are trying to win. They're not trying to murder each other. Always Macho tries to at the end, but
Yes.
But he tries to win for a while. Oh man, look at that backdrop.
Yeah.
Like, usually when guys take backdrops over the top, they kind of go over the side. Macho went straight on, like basically head over at,
Yeah.
completely just over the top.
Oh, Miss Elizabeth fixes her hair.
See Jack Lanza at ringside.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's a headset on. Ricky going to the top now. Big chop. 1, 2, foot on the rope. And this sequence coming up, it's amazing. So Ricky with the chop, goes for the pin. Macho kicks out.
Always love the foot in the rope. That was always one of my favorite things.
Chop to the head. Another chop to the head. Another chop to the head. Macho's rolling out. This is what happens when two guys can sell, because everything these guys are doing looks like they're getting murdered.
Right.
Savage going out. He's gonna try the same thing again. Shoulder block followed by a sunset flip. Macho's holding on to the rope, and he finally succumbs to the sunset flip. 1, 2. Macho kicks out. Macho swings wildly.
Yeah.
And gets schoolboyed. 1, 2. Another pinfall attempt by Steamboat. Macho kicks out. 1.5. Small package. 1, 2. Savage kicks out. Big body slam. Well, he's going for the your favorite maneuver, the slingshot.
Yes.
And Macho hits the post. Let me ask you a question, Matt. You think this match could have used blood?
It didn't need it. I think it was. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, it's not a steel cage match. It's not whatever. This was his first match back after the injury.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was necessarily needed. If blood's, again, back in the old days, you're elevating to that point. If they had a cage match,
Savage with a hell of a leverage move, and Steamboat hit the post.
Yes. The old dreaded shoulder to the post. He's broke his shoulder there.
Now, since so many guys ended up doing that, how come they didn't go with the Japanese turnbuckles, which is like the one piece of padding going straight down? It's annoying.
Oh, the ref's dead. The ref's dead. Ref bump.
Ref bump. And I don't think they did ref bumps like that back in the day. Like, especially in WWF. And NWA, they had them all the time.
Yeah.
Like that Macho Man sit down clothesline. Someone was bleeding. I don't remember who was bleeding on this show, but I see blood on the canvas. At least that's the old canvas. Oh, Mach's going up.
Elbow.
One, two, no ref. Savage, this makes Savage stay face.
Yeah.
Because if the ref was up, he would have won. That's why the ref bump was there. Because, guys, in the 80s, if you got hit with a finish, that was the finish.
Right.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Oh, here he's going for the timekeeper's bell. And Mel Phillips. Oh, poor Mel Phillips.
It's like Mel didn't know the spot.
Yeah.
He's like trying to hold on to the bell.
But that's believable.
Yeah.
And George Steele, I always love his kick to the head. Oh, George.
Fucking George drops the bell. Mach has to come off the apron.
Yeah.
That seems like a botch to me.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. It absorbed. What? The ref's like, what's the bell doing here? I just love this. Like you take him up and whoop, out of nowhere.
1, 2, 3. And your new Intercontinental Champion, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Damn right.
So, Matt, let me ask you a question. Does this match hold up to the nostalgia factor?
Yes.
Because I got a lot of people on the internet that says this match is overrated.
No, I don't think so. I think it's it's the way you were trained. I think if you're a fan and you went through the Attitude Era where it was the heel boss and instant gratification and the matches got shorter and the feuds got shorter because it was constantly changing to keep up,
And it was high spot, and now it's high spot after half spot. So, like, you see 3 attitude adjustments by John Cena before you even, you get, in the first part of the match, and it's completely ridiculous.
I almost think what has to happen in wrestling these days is you have to have some sort of reverse character. Like, remember when ECW Mick Foley went with the I'm not doing hardcore anymore?
Right.
Like, someone goes, no, we're not doing spots. I'm going to ground you into the mat like Brock Lesnar.
The Revival does that. They actually talk about it.
Who does?
The Revival, NXT.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, they're the ones with the T-shirts. We don't do flips. We just use our fists.
Right. And that's the thing. Just beat me. That's the areas to do it. But start up. The thing is, if you did it in the right way, and the spots become more important as opposed to just, oh, he's jumping through the ropes again. Like every other guy in the show did. And that's the thing, too. I think when you have such a big roster and you have sort of a shrinking down of the moves, you used to have it that, well, you didn't. Oh, poor Randy's driving away and crying.
He's upset, man.
Devastated. He won the match. That Ricky Steamboat cheated. George Steele cost him the title. Yeah, but I think you could get back there if you did it right. And again, it's how you train your fans. If the fans are trained to expect high spot, 5-minute match,
then you end up with segments on Raw where people are arm wrestling.
Right.
Which is interesting because people are mad about that. Again, we're taping this on October 25th, 2016, and Bayley and Dana Brooks just had an arm wrestling match. Old school fans, that's a big trope of wrestling. There's always arm wrestling matches that end up in chaos. It'd be Hogan and Andre, Billy Graham and Andre. I remember a good one with DDP and who was the other person? Van Hammer? Johnny B. Bad?
God.
Dave Sullivan. It was Dave Sullivan. and he went on a date with the Diamond Doll. So it is an old school trope of professional wrestling. It's like the arm wrestling match, the boxing match, and the wrestling wedding. So it's like, what are you gonna do? They were actually screaming boring, and we want wrestling, and this is stupid. Yeah. The this is stupid chant makes kind of sense because if you're gonna have an arm wrestling match, you want like two like really big dudes, like because that's impressive, like over the top style, right? So I can see what they're getting at there. I guess I don't agree with that though. All right, guys. So that is Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3, March 29th, 1987. Some people, Alice know, does not think this is the best match in the card. He will contend that it's Hogan and Andre because they drew the house, which is true. That they drew the house. I mean, we can't debate that. That's true. But to say that Ricky and Randy didn't steal the show, I think it's an unfair assessment.
Right.
So I think he's trying to be too business oriented. You know, there's a business part of it and there's a performance art of it. And not saying that the Andre Hogan match was bad, but that's a match that you're going to have their moment. And the moment was a slam.
Yes.
That's going to be on every video release or what have you for the next 100 million years. That's so important. But Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage, I think in terms of legacy, I still think it's one of the greatest matches of all time. I think it's held up extremely well. You have two great performers in the ring with time, with a story. It's amazing. Now you can throw guys in there like AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, but they have no story. The match is not going to be good either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a great match, but it doesn't have any emotion to it. And you either have the emotion to make a great match. They all come into play. So you got to have the great angle, you have the great in-ring athleticism, and that's what will give you an all-time 5-star classic. That's why I have a hard time with some of these Japanese matches getting 5 stars, just for the simple fact that you don't know what the fuck's going on anyway. So how am I, as a English-speaking American, supposed to get emotionally invested in two guys from Japan? The match just seems cold. You know what I mean? Like the match, it's cool, but I'm not invested in the match. And I love Japanese wrestling. They've recently done some things to kind of correct those issues with now they're having like a lot of their pay-per-views have English commentary on it now, and they actually have a show in the United States on Access Television. If you have it, you can watch New Japan Wrestling on TV. So Matt, I did want to get into the next pay-per-view. I know we talked briefly about it last show, which is WWE Hell in the Cell.
Yes.
Now they did announce a new match for Hell in the Cell. Enzo Amore and Big Cass taking on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Yay.
Yes, something for them to do. Good. I
think they took a lot of steam off of Gallows and Anderson at this point. They need a tag team championship win. I'm calling it right now for the New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus match. One of those guys are going to turn on each other, costing themselves the match. And they're going to extend their feud there. TJ Perkins versus Brian Kenrick. Again, that's going to be a great cruiserweight division match. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But then we go into the big three. So we have Sasha Banks versus Charlotte in Hell in the Cell. We have Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins in Hell in the Cell. And you have Roman Reigns versus Rusev in Hell in the Cell. Which from all the promotional material that I'm feeling, I'm kind of feeling that they're promoting Roman Reigns and Rusev as the main event of this show. Which in reality, it probably should either go with the Sasha Banks and Charlotte or Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. So Matt, what are your thoughts on the announcement of the new tag team match?
Well, I think it's classic bait and switch. I mean, all right. So Enzo and Cass were on a super, hot streak initially. And then it's like someone they pissed in Vince's coffee or something.
They got cooled off.
Right. And same with Gallows and Anderson, and
Anderson might get in trouble for those comments he made about Ric Flair on a podcast.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. You can't have it both ways. No? If you want to have him out there in social media, then have him out there, but don't.
Just don't be Mick Foley.
Right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. So, Matt, I wanted to bring up and we'll get your opinion on the pending, sort of, sale of TNA. Maybe they might go out of business. They might get sold. They might get saved. I don't know.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts, real quick? Because we're probably going to do a whole show on TNA on kind of where they find themselves currently and how did they get to this state.
Well, part of me feels like, you know what? Fine, sell the library and be done with it. I mean, if you're going to go in a whole new direction, product-wise, like you're going to abandon all of the, history per se, no Bound for Glory, no, X Championship. I don't know. I guess it depends if you're just playing just, like the episode of Dallas, just pretend the whole thing was a dream. I mean, if you use that money to help fund your new business, it'd be great. I mean, I'm a big believer. I think one of the problems that the WWE is facing in wrestling in general is there's no rivalry to push each other. And without a rivalry, like when you have Monday Night Wars, they're both competing for the fans. Right now, you have that SmackDown Raw thing, and SmackDown's kicking Raw's ass product-wise, quality-wise. This is the first Raw in a while tonight that was semi-decent. But still so disjointed and so I was like, you have 3 hours. Now I get like tonight's show had a match where you had the Golden Truth and Mark Henry against the Puerto Rican landscaper. I don't know whatever the hell they're doing now, selling property. Now they're like every week it's something different, like just stupid. Like, just let them be a good team. And Todd, what's his name? Dad of the Year guy.
Oh, Titus O'Neil.
Him, so like they're using these stupid gimmicks. It's like either go the full racism angle and have characters that are like super over the top racist, or don't. Like just the timeshare business is so stupid.
Yeah.
So then you look at those are guys that are on TV with nothing to do really.
Yeah. And
instead of saying, wow, if we build a 6-man title, whatever. So you look at TNA and you go, okay, those guys have a lot of talent over there. But we're not in the right position, programming-wise, to get the kind of audience we need. I'd almost say if I was Shane McMahon, like I'd go and buy it and be like, I'll run it, like run a rivalry, for the family, because ultimately it's going to be better for the product if people are, choosing and trying to, outdo each other. I know like New Japan's got airing now, but I think TNA, there is a lot of history there, like it or not.
Here's the deal with TNA. A lot of people don't talk about it. TNA lasted longer than ECW.
Really?
TNA lasted longer than WCW.
Wow.
So keep that in mind. So TNA's been around since 2002. So that's 14 years. WCW lasted from 1988 to 2001. Talking about the turn in WCW. Not
yeah.
ECW, 1993 to 2001.
Huh.
So TNA's been around longer, probably has more content, more hours of television, more pay-per-views than companies that we have a strong association with. I don't think TNA deserves a lot of the shit that they get. I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan of them. I always found their show hard to follow. I'll get into this on a future show, but I started watching TNA right at the beginning. I think the first match I ever saw was Low Key versus the Amazing Red. It was like the third their third or fourth show in, and I saw that match. And if you've never seen that match before, that match completely blew me away. And this is 2002.
Yeah.
So that match kicks ass today, on par or even superior than whatever cruiserweight match you're going to watch. And they had that ability in 2002. I'll talk about the days when they still had the girls dancing in the cages, which was always kind of weird.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And the Asylum? It's fucking weird. I saw a young CM Punk there. 2000, I don't know, 2003, 2004. So I am connected to the early days. Now, I think I had stopped watching probably right after the big thing with Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe.
Okay.
And then I was like, then the Hogan deal came in. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to watch it because Hogan's not involved. I'm gonna check it out.
Yep.
And then they had that awful Monday night show. where you had like Homicide who couldn't get out of the fucking cage, and you had Billy Gunn playing strip pokers with their knockouts, and fuck off.
Yeah, I always felt like, and especially when it's like you're essentially running like C-teamers, but you're just feeding off their own thing. Like, did you see when, I guess, Aaron Rex came over?
Yeah.
All right. And he cut a promo, like, and he wasn't what I thought he was going to do with it, but he did a good job with it. That kind of idea, like, I'm establishing myself, you didn't believe in me, watch. And I think particularly when wrestlers can leave the controlled environment of WWE and a little more freedom. I mean, like we see with the whole final deletion match, we talked about that before. I think really you can do a lot with it. And what I hope is that whatever happens, they have to be careful, because if you go the direction of it's going to be the final deletion heavy type concept, that's going to be hard to maintain, in that if you have every wrestler doing it, it'll lose its luster.
It won't be special anymore.
Right. If every I'm falling farther and farther out of fandom of Bray Wyatt, because to me all he is a glorified Heath Slater. He just loses all the time. He talks the same kind of promo. It's like, okay. And I do think that a lot of guys would benefit from a different promotion.
Yeah.
TNA, I hope that if they're going to buy it and they're going to reboot, if you will, then do it. But either do it fully and just, I think you don't have to be like secret, just be open about it. Be like, you know what? We had some financial troubles. I remember the whole Dixie Carter thing was so painful to watch, because she was so obviously not a good on-screen performer.
Yeah, I think that was one of their biggest problems, having Dixie as an on-air character. She comes off a little pretentious, a little fake, little pander, like she panders.
Right.
She's like the rich lady that goes into the she's like a rich lady that goes into a poor neighborhood and like works a soup kitchen for like a half hour, and then makes you feel good. You know what I mean? Yeah. But she doesn't really want to be associated with these people. That's what Dixie Carter is.
Yeah.
And I wish she was the lady from Designing Women, because she was cool. Remember that show? That show was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
She's also the mom on Different Strokes.
Really?
Yeah. You gotta watch this late season Different Stroke episode. Remember when they got like the white kid?
Like another brother?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
Yeah, exactly. That happened. It wasn't the Mandela effect. No, that really happened. By the way, guys, when I talk about the Mandela effect, and I might mention this a couple more times in the future, the Mandela effect is in the 80s, a lot of people remember hearing or seeing on the news that Nelson Mandela had died in prison. He did not die in prison. He was actually released at some point, and I believe he became president of South Africa. So a lot of people saying someone went, from the past or from the future, went back in time and fixed it. And what we remember incorrectly is the residual memories of the old past. I kind of like the butterfly effect. Looking at TNA's roster currently, they have good talent. I mean, their talent is it's up there. I think it's pretty good. I mean, these are guys I would want to see. I mean, they lost a whole bunch of talent, unfortunately, but they have enough still remaining. And it goes to show you how stacked that roster was at one point. So you still have Abyss, you have Aiden O'Shea, you have Al Snow. His views in wrestling I don't really care for. You got Andrew Evett, Aaron Rex, Baron Dax, Basil Baraka. You have Brahm, Branson Stutter, Jeff Hardy, Cody Rhodes, Crazy Steve.
Yep.
Davey Richards, DJ Z, Drew Galloway, Eddie Edwards, Eddie Kingston, which is weird because I think he recently had a tryout match with WWE. I love Eddie Kingston, by the way. I think he's awesome. Eli Drake, EC3, Grado. They have Shane Helms as a manager. James Stone, Jesse Goddard. Goddard's how you say it? Gooders.
Sure.
Bobby Lashley, Mahabali Shira, Mandrews, Marsh Rocket, Matt Hardy, Mike Bennett, Moose, Robbie E, Rockstar's Pub, Tigre Uno, Trevor Lee, and Tyrus. And then their knockouts, you have Ali, Brandy Rhodes, which is funny because she can use the name Brandy Rhodes, which is cool. Gail Kim, Jade, Laura Von Ness, Madison Rayne, Maria, from WWE fame, Marty Bell, Raquel, Reby Hardy, Rosemary, and Sienna. And then on commentator, they have D'Angelo De Niro and Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews.
D'Angelo De Niro?
Yeah, he was Elijah Burke.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Again, I can't really comment because it'd be unfair because I haven't watched the product in quite a while. But look at the names. Like, I'm a big fan of Davey Richards. I'm a big fan of Eddie Edwards, although Eddie Edwards hates me.
Vendetta.
He hates my guts. I know it. Over an autograph. Drew Galloway, who I saw Evolve, he was fantastic. And then you had EC3, which I think is really good. James Storm, awesome. Obviously. Lashley, I like to see him come back as a potential opponent for Brock Lesnar. And then you have the Hardys, of course. Mike Bennett, who's fantastic as well. Mike Bennett should be on a WWF roster today. Out of anyone that was on the Indies or in TNA, he is tailor-made for the WWE.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you that right now. The roster is good. I mean, it goes to like, who would you want on a WWF roster? Right now, again, I would take Davey Richards, obviously, but he did have a try at one point. Galloway, Edwards, Kingston, EC3, Lashley, Storm, Mike Bennett. That is all. Then, obviously, I would take Gail Kim because I want to see Gail Kim versus Asuka or Gail Kim versus Charlotte. I think that'd be fantastic. And you have Madison Rayne, who I don't like Madison Rayne. I hate Madison Rayne.
What'd she do to you?
Nothing. That's the problem. No, she's weird, and I think I have a problem with the fact that she is on the creative team in TNA.
Really?
Yeah. There's no real reason for me to be mad about that or upset. It just makes my stomach hurt. I don't know why. So I'm curious to see what they do going forward. I wonder if Billy Corgan, if he's gonna. There's no reason for anyone to buy this, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for Billy Corgan to buy it. You can piece it out. I mean, why don't you just buy their TV deal on Pop TV? I mean, it's not like they're on Spike or anything, or on FX or the major channels. Who cares? Why are you gonna buy whatever contracts they have? Why would you want to buy out those contracts? It makes no sense. I mean, obviously, we would want the tape library because that's the most, and that's their biggest asset. But I heard that Dixie even pieced that out too, so she sold it to a bunch of different people.
Really?
Yeah, that's why the WWE couldn't buy it. Because now, like, she took out all kinds of fucked up shit, and we'll learn more tomorrow when some of the things in the lawsuit comes out. But like, she stole Billy Corgan's money, allegedly. Like Billy Corgan gave her money for ownership, stake, but she didn't give it to him. So she just ran away with the money, allegedly. All kinds of crazy shit like that. And now the faucet's open, and you'll see a rush of TNA crazy shenanigans.
Yeah.
They have a tax lien with the state of Tennessee right now, so they didn't pay their taxes. They owe their production company money. They owe their music people money for the license, and all kinds of crazy shit. Like, she hasn't been paying bills. I feel bad.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, to be completely honest. The day Jeff Jarrett was relieved of duty or left or what have you, I think it was the day that started the timer on the death of TNA.
Yeah.
Like, that's when the sands of time, like, you turn it over and now you're just on borrowed time. Because I think he was the glue. He was the wrestling mind, the guy that was holding people accountable and that kind of stuff. Because people got to understand, like, this is just a toy for Dixie.
Right.
Like, she doesn't live by that. Like, she's not going to go broke because it's what our business. Her family's wealthy. She's wealthy. The reason they're in financial trouble because her parents stopped giving her money for her toy.
All right.
You know what I mean? And to have someone who plays like this, like, it's the bad sports team owner. There's some owners that live and die by their teams because they make money off of them. And there's other people that are like, I own a bunch of oil companies, blah, blah, blah. This is just going to be a toy for me. And you can tell by there's no passion behind it. It's just like something to do. So, for the guys that rely on this company for a paycheck, the wrestlers the production people, that kind of stuff. Those are what I feel terrible for.
Yeah.
It's too bad. So hopefully we'll get a new alternative to be Billy Corgan and his group, or maybe Jeff Jarrett will finally get his global wrestling off the ground, and maybe we'll get weekly TV on that. You guys, there's still Lucha Underground out there for you guys to watch. Like I said, New Japan has a TV show if you can find it. Hopefully something comes out of the woodwork. SmackDown is doing good. I think SmackDown is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and it's a good show.
Yep.
I don't hear many complaints about SmackDown, and there's no reason to complain. Bottom line. Yeah, my man James Ellsworth, beat AJ Styles 2 times in a row, which may have earned him a contract because he's over. He had like the hottest selling shirt on the website like last week. He moves merch, baby. He moves merch.
Well, I think what it shows is that if you create a fun angle, it'll sell, and you don't necessarily need big names to do it. I think they stole it from me. That's an IWA storyline, though. But,
okay.
I'll tell you about that later. But no, it really is a fun one to watch. And that super kick he hit him with was awesome.
He nailed that.
My favorite part, though, was when AJ Styles put him in a chin lock and he slipped out. And he was like, points to his lack of a chin. It's like, oh.
But it goes to show you what you can do. First of all, it shows how good AJ Styles is. Like how amazing. He's the best wrestler.
Yeah.
Today, bar none. No one's close. No one can touch him.
Yeah.
First of all. Second of all, it shows people how valuable having enhancement talent, jobbers, and journeymen are to the program.
Right.
Because you can never do this with someone else. The guys that you built, you couldn't even do this with Heath Slater.
Right.
You know what I mean? You needed someone that was lower on the totem pole than Heath Slater to pull this off correctly. And the biggest thing, I think we mentioned this before, it shows how great the athletes are. Like, this is basically a guy off the street. You know what I mean? And compare him to a WWE superstar. There's a big fucking difference than me, you, someone else, that is not in the WWE compared to their wrestlers. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The amount of athleticism and how great athletes they are. When you have great athletes versus great athletes, you don't notice. But if you put LeBron James in a pickup game, 5-on-5 pickup game, you'll see how really fucking good he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, Bill Murray had a tweet during the Olympics where he said every event should have one normal person just to show the comparison of like how great they are.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun angle. They're doing it right, but we'll see what happens next. And if I'm James Ellsworth, ride it for all you can.
Oh, he's gonna get big money on the Indies now.
Yeah. Former WWE superstar,
Yeah.
James Ellsworth.
Former WWE champion, #1 contender.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's huge. I also think NXT is right where it's supposed to be. Still looking good, even though they lost a lot of talent. And I love the stuff they're doing with Joe and Nakamura at this point. So, keep that up. Bobby Roode is there making a name for himself. Roderick Strong and Austin Aries are now a tag team. They're going to be in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. So lots of exciting things other than Monday Night Raw. Now, I think we've been programmed for so long that it's all Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is the show. It's the show. It's the show. It's the show. So when we look at Monday Night Raw, we we think that's the state of wrestling, or that's the state of the WWE.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore.
No.
Raw has become cooked, so to speak. So that's my opinion on kind of the current state of professional wrestling. So we're officially running out of time. So again, next week will be our Los Angeles closed circuit event live from the Olympic Auditorium. We were talking about the WWA, Los Angeles, Classy Freddie Blassie, the LaBelles, Judo Gene LaBelle, what have you, and we'll go over some other things, possibly Hell in a Cell, possibly if TNA's been sold, and we'll go from there.
All right.
All right. So for